series that we hold every month. This month, which is actually Children's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is near and dear to my heart. And so, but today we're going to talk about helping children with anger. And so we're going to talk about some emotions, and then we're also going to talk about self-regulation. Any questions before we get started?
I just want to do a quick introduction.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just so excited, Vanessa.
I know, it is exciting this time of the month. So hello everyone and welcome again to our training that we do every month, backpack series. And I am a parent consultant with the Connecticut Parent Center. For those who doesn't know who we are the Parent Training Information Center for the state of Connecticut. And by law, every state must have a PTI, and we are the one from Connecticut. Our mission is to empower families of children with disability and developmental delay for ages 0 to 26 and the professionals who serve them. We provide telephone consultation, training, and programs, and our goal is for parents to become their parents to their child, best advocate and give them the tools that they need to support their children. Today's training, like Bethanne said, it's helping children with anger. So the presenter is Bethanne. If you want to just give a little brief introduction about yourself. If anybody have any question, just put it in a chat and I'll be happy to help, or raise your hands. And if you need translation, let me know. We have the PowerPoint in Spanish as well as we go. And just remember, we would love you guys to participate and engage into a conversation with us. And just remember that we are recording this and we are live on Facebook. Just remember to keep private information or names of school or names of people, because we are live on Facebook and we can't control that. Welcome again, and you can rock, Bethanne. You muted.
Oh goodness. I am Bethanne Vergean. I work at the UConn Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, but I am also part of the Connecticut Pyramid State Leadership Team. So our state is all about promoting social emotional development, and then also for all our providers and parents, the awareness of the importance of social emotional development. So each month we come here, if this is the first time you're joining us, each month we do a different topic that comes from the backpack series that the National Pyramid Center for Innovations has on their website, which we can share the link with you. And so each of the backpack series goes through tips and strategies for early childhood providers and parents on how to deal with one of the issues that we're going to talk about. So today we're going to talk about helping children with anger. Next slide. So Connecticut is a pyramid state. So the Office of Early Childhood is funding a lot of the work that we're doing around our state. We have early childhood providers that are implementing it into classrooms. And so we're really excited to be able to present to all the providers that work with children 0 to 5. Next slide. So the pyramid model is all about building positive relationships, supporting and nurturing environments, and then also being able to address those individualized supports when needed when some children have persistent challenging behaviors. So there is a bit of a tier system before we talk about going right to an individual support for a family or a child. So today's backpack is about how to help and understand and recognize your child's anger. So you're able to get a copy of this backpack, and we'll put the link in the chat box towards the end, and you can download it and print it and use it. So again, there's practice at home that you can do with skills, and then there's tips for at home for families. So as we begin, children that are young and under the age of 5, there's a variety of reasons why they show anger. Some of them is that they're not able to express to an adult or another person what they're trying to say. They also are in little tiny bodies that just don't know what to do with all of these emotions. And some of those emotions just come out as anger or frustration. So it's important for us to be able to teach children what to do with those emotions and how to work through them. So parents and teachers can help children understand how to what they feel like when they're angry, and then we want to show them positive ways to be able to work through that anger. As adults, what do we do as adults when we're angry and frustrated? Well, we may yell, children yell too. We have different ways, but we know how to take it down when we're frustrated or angry. So we want to be able to teach children how to do the same. Next slide. So some tips for helping children with as they understand anger as part of their emotions. And to be able to identify what they are. So I'm angry, I'm frustrated. So we want to be able to take that step ahead. When a child is recognizing that they're feeling either sad, they're able to say, I'm sad. They're able to say, I'm angry, and get it out. And so that way they're not just really stressing out about what's inside that tiny little body of theirs. So some of the tips that we can you can do at home. As adults, we want to also be role models for children. So an example is like this morning, I dropped 2 eggs on the floor, and I was like trying to get out the door. I'm trying to make breakfast, and I was like so frustrated, and I dropped the eggs on the floor, and maybe there are some words that wanted to come out of my mouth. But instead I'm like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm trying to get out the door and get a breakfast ready for everybody. And so I label to my son exactly like what I'm feeling and why, so that when we label those emotions and when something happens, it's a good way for them to also say, well, oh, my mom says she's angry. Maybe that's what I should do. So instead of, if they're building, say an example, drawing something and the drawing doesn't come out the right way. Most young children will like throw the crayons or give up and rip up the paper. So we want to teach them ways to be like, I'm so angry right now. I drew that person looks like a cat. It doesn't even look like a person. So I'm feeling angry in my body, and I feel like my heart is beating fast, and I feel like a volcano inside. And so what can I do to like reduce some of this anger? So as adults, we want to be able to identify when we see those triggers. So an example, if you have 2 children fighting over the same truck and circle, or in a center in the classroom, or even at home, you could have 2 siblings. As we know, siblings like to fight. So that's going to be a trigger, that they're going to go for the same truck and they're going to fight over it. I have, when my son has friends over, they argue over like the most ridiculous things all the time. Who said this? Who said what? And I see it coming a mile away most of the time. So I kind of go into the room and say, well, even though the 2 of you feel that you both like something, I try to work it out with some problem solving with them. So just like in the sense of anger, you want to be able to, that when children get frustrated if they can't do something, red flag. So it's coming. So kind of just standing with them and saying, I know that you're putting those blocks together, and usually when you get to that top block, you get frustrated that the blocks are going to break over. So what can we do if we get frustrated? Can we take some deep breaths? I love when we could say, you can blow out, like you're blowing out a birthday candle. So instead of like throwing those blocks, just blow out a birthday candle. And again, a lot of times we can foresee the weather forecast. Is it cloudy skies with a chance of anger or frustration? We know with young children, some things they're going to trigger them. So one, if they're trying to do something for the first time and they can't do it, it's going to cause stress and they're going to get frustrated. They're sad because someone can't come over and play, or they're sad that sometimes as adults or parents, we get busy and we're not able to attend to what exactly the child needs. And so they will get sad or they'll get angry at us. So those things sometimes we are able to identify before the explosion of the volcano. So one other way too is that we want to encourage children to move, and we want them to have physical activity. And so when also too, if if they're really mad, be like, all right, let's go outside, let's go run down to the block and run back, or let's run up the stairs 3 times back and forth. So they're exerting that anger out by using exercise. Tell them to go yell at a pillow. I had a student one time who was disappointed because he didn't get to sit next to his friend at circle time, and the behavior kept on escalating. So I had him go over to one of our cozy corners, and I had him just scream in the pillow, let that anger out. And it really helped. And then he understood that like there's other ways, because I saw it coming that he was going to hit the other child, because he was frustrated because he didn't want the kid next to him. So he was trying to push him away. So always, we don't want to encourage children to hit each other or other objects. So we want to kind of take a detour on what we see is going to happen, and sometimes what makes children angry. I know personally on myself, I know the top 3 things that make me angry: dirty dishes in the sink, I have to pick up towels off the bathroom floor. So like if people did those things in my house, I wouldn't be so angry. Next slide. This is my favorite way when we want to talk to children about emotions, is because children really relate to emotions in books. So when we're reading books to children and telling them a story about another situation, children have that visual, they can visually relate. So a great one is the Pout Pout fish in the Mad Day. So it's talking about a fish who had a really bad day and how he was mad, and then how he dealt with that anger. I think this is one of the best strategies to use when you're wanting to teach a child about what an emotion looks like and how to label it. Even as an adult, if I get upset about something, I will say, I'm angry that that car cut me off, or I'm angry that you didn't pick up that towel off the floor. So labeling why I'm upset, and then why, and then what's the reason for me being upset. We can do the same things with children and teach them how to do it. I'm upset because you're not letting me stay up late because I want to watch TV, or I'm upset because you won't let me have an extra dessert, or as the list goes on. But using books is a great way to have a child visualize a story and a character on how they're sharing their emotions. Next slide. Social stories. There's great ways, and we're going to share the link for the website that you can actually print and make your own scripted stories. So social stories are ways that you take a problem and you turn it into a small story. And you can also do it on your own. You can do it in Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can take images and just write up a story. And so these help children ways of learning to behave in certain situations. And we call these in a social narrative too. So if you know that a child gets sad every time mom drops them off, or sad that you have to go to work, you can develop a social story about that story, and then put strategies in the story on what can help the child not be sad anymore. Next slide. So a great tool, and I'm going to put the link in the chat box when we're done, is Tucker the Turtle Takes Time to Tuck and Think. So this book is all about teaching self-regulation and how you can teach how to calm down. So for some, you can yell in a pillow. Some it's blowing out they're like acting like they're blowing out a candle or blowing a flower. Tucker talks about the turtle talks about himself and being angry. And then he shows how he kind of crawls into his shell when he needs to calm down, and how does he do that to be able to calm down and not be so angry. And he also shows how you can label emotions. Next slide. So here's just an example of the story. Tucker Turtle is a terrific turtle. He likes to play with his friends at Sunny Stream School. Next slide. Sometimes things happen that make Tucker really mad, and he'll say, that will make me really mad. His friends are saying, you can't play with us. So what's going to happen to Tucker? He's going to get upset and mad. It used to be when Tucker got mad, he would kick, hit, and yell at his friends. His friends would go away and get sad and scared and didn't want to play with them. So there, I will also add in the link, there's a great video of a teacher reading Tucker to kids. And so, and you could see the kids' reactions too. It's really great. And we can actually play the video, but we need the sound.
I don't think we can hear Joyce, but I don't know if she has control of the volume.
You should be able to share the sound through the Zoom, if you know how to do it.
Let's find a spot. Well, you keep drawing, but I'm going to sit here so you can hear us, okay, Angel? Oh, good. You can keep him on your hand if you like. And I'm going to sit on this big pink spot. Who wants to hear about Tucker Turtle? Right. So you be Tucker, and you can be one of the friends. Okay. And when oh, great, Jade's got a spot. She's got a purple spot next to my pink spot. And Angel, you keep drawing, but can you hear if I'm talking this loudly? Is that good? You can still hear? Right. This is Tucker who you're drawing. Tucker Turtle takes time to tuck and think. And Blake's got a big job over there being Tucker. He's the main character. Tucker Turtle is a terrific turtle. He likes to play with his friends at Wet Lake School and Bimby. But sometimes things happen that can make Tucker really mad. Oh dear. And this is where you come in. You might do something accidentally right now. When Tucker got mad, he used to, and I think you can be gentle, he used to hit, kick, or yell at his friends. He would get mad, his friends would get mad and upset when he hit, kicked, or yelled at them. I think I would too. No. Well, but Tucker now knows a new way to think like a turtle when he gets mad. So if something like this happened, and maybe you could accidentally trip Tucker over, can you just accidentally give him a little trip? Oh, so get up nice and close, and Tucker, you're going for a walk, and oh dear, ouch. So he used to get mad when things like that happened, but now he thinks like a turtle. So Tucker used to get really mad if something like that happened where he tripped him, but now he can stop. So show me how you stop, Blake. Good. He keeps his hands and his body, and he's yelling to himself. Let's try and tuck his hands in like that. Oh, that's good. And can you tuck your hands in? Just pretend like that. Oh, that's good. Nice and cozy. He can tuck inside his shell and take 3 deep breaths. To calm down. I already feel calm. Do you feel calm?
I feel calm.
Tucker can then think of a solution or a way to make it better. So we use our solution kit, don't we? Well, so does Tucker. But he can't use his solution kit until he's calm.
So I love that video as she's explaining that you can't, you can really be able to tuck in and show how they can, what to do with it, some of their anger. And the bottom line is anger is something that we all experience time to time. But young children, we're able to, as we get older, label why we're upset and be able to use language to do that. Language behavior is a form of communication. So when a child is having some sort of behavior, they're trying to tell us something. But what are they trying to tell us? So this is the importance. If we teach children how to label their emotions and why they're upset, it really helps. If we think about a 2-year-old who is having a temper tantrum about something. Well, most 2-year-olds are just learning how to talk and be able to express themselves. So we have to figure out why they're angry or frustrated. So what was, what's the reason? So until we can be able to put a label to what the emotion is, it's all about us guiding. You can teach children anger is natural. It is always important it's never should be guilty that a child is upset or angry about something. It's what they do with that emotion. Again, we don't want hitting and we don't want them throwing things. So being able to have healthy emotions such as sadness, frustration, and then but when we have those emotions, we need to be able to express them appropriately, and not physically. So a child who's been taught to recognize and understand anger in themselves will be less likely to have aggressive, destructive ways. So it all starts with us teaching what those emotions are as early as we possibly can, is just setting up a child for success. Because again, that communication is what the behavior is about. What are they trying to tell us? And the ability for a child to manage their feelings and problem solve. I have a 9-year-old and I'm still working on problem solving, but it's a lifelong skill that even as adults we try to have. So, just as an example of like 2 4-year-olds fighting over the same toy, instead of fighting over it, what can we do so that you both can play with it? So there's always a way to solve the problem. There's always going to be a problem. So we just need to find a way to solve it. Next slide. So as I just said, behavior is a form of communication. And, anytime we see a behavior, it's just that we need to figure it out. So in the chat box, I put the version for each of these backpack series. I put one in Spanish and one in English. So kind of like some of the tips that we talked about today. So if you want to download and be able to use it, please do so. And the link, and I'm going to actually put it right now, is to the National Pyramid website, which has a lot of the great tools that I talk about every time we join each other every month. And also, too, you can learn how to develop a social story. You can just make one yourself. I mean, sometimes some of the books that I gave some examples about the books that you can use to talk about emotions, but you can make one up yourself, and then just use a fictional character, or even use the child himself as the character in the book. Use a simple scenario that that they usually have trouble managing, like why they're angry or upset. Use that story to be your narrative, and then let the child help tell you how the story is going to end and what did he do to not to be able to label his emotions and solve the problem and why he was angry. And then also too, there is a fantastic, if you're into podcasts, so if I have parents on here or even early childhood teachers, Sparkler has a podcast called Big Heart, Big World, and it's kids talking about what emotions are. So if you're driving in the car and you need a good 20 minutes to fill time, and it's a good thing to do, download the app, and then listen to all the podcasts that are on there. And it's also, you can go online to bigheartworld.com or .org, and you can listen to the podcast that way too. So there's so many great ways for you to be able to teach emotions and talk about anger with kids, whether, again, if it's reading books, it's doing some sort of anger exercise, so yelling in the pillow or going for a run, or diverting some of the anger and doing something silly. So there's always a way to do it, but my best thing to say is we have to think about triggers. So I know that, in some homes at night, we know, like, some kids, if they don't eat by 6 o'clock, here comes the lion. So what do we try to do? Have dinner ready for 6 o'clock. So that avoids one of the hangry episodes, or, not putting TV or anything on at a certain time that we know is going to frustrate a child.
Someone just asked, sorry, Bethanne.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone just asked a question if the slides would be available for them. I
Yeah.
just replied that we can email them the slides. No
Oh
problem.
my gosh, yes. And then I'm gonna put in the link to I'm gonna link as well on how to do the social stories in the chat too. You know what I have to say, navigating young children's behaviors and teaching them emotions is probably, I think, the hardest thing about parenthood. And so how can we do this? But there's so many resources. There's podcasts, there's these great websites, there's great books that you can read with your kids. I don't have a magic wand to say, oh, this is how we get rid of challenging behaviors. But these are things we can start with. Is there something going on beyond what we've all talked about today? Maybe there's, something that if you feel like the behaviors is escalating and they're not getting any better, then that's something that you can talk to the pediatrician about as well. There's more. And I will tell you that there's been such an increase in social emotional development concerns in the last 2 years than we've seen in a long time. Is it because of COVID? Is it because of a lot of programs were closed, shut down because of COVID? So is this the after effects as they say the pandemic emergency is over. So, but is this just our new norm, or is this just us coming out of a difficult 2 years? So what can we do with that? But there's just so many resources out there that can guide families.
Does anybody here has any question that they would like to ask or give example? Don't be shy. I think pictures too, Bethanne, like a child that's not verbal. How can we, that's a question that I get all the time for parents in the group, that child that are not verbal, 2-3-year-old that's not verbal yet. How can we communicate with them and show them those strategies? I think pictures, I don't know if I have any other idea, books.
Yeah.
But pictures of faces, I think, like I saw one that with a bunch of faces and showing them, frustrated, angry, mad, sad.
And on the website, the link that I put in the chat, you can print out, they have, you can hang up cards on the wall, or you can make them on a popsicle stick and teach children what each emotion is. And then you can have them point to them and recognize what it is. So that's another great way. But I see Christina has her hand up with a question.
Hi, I just, I have a question. I had something happen with my 5-year-old. He's usually pretty good about handling his anger and things like that, but he had a very uncharacteristic outburst one day. And I'm wondering if it's like something he's never ever done before, saying things he's never ever said before, and it took a long time to kind of diffuse it and just tell him I know you're angry, but we have let's talk about it, and he just kept repeating the I hate yous, and he's never done that before. So I was just curious, what is it? Is there something that could have just triggered that kind of one-off response?
Yeah, I mean, did something happen during the day that triggered him? I will say it's so hard, to read into their little minds. And if they can't understand what that emotion is themselves, then how can they share it with you? So I would sometimes revisit it once he's calmed down. I would wait a little bit, maybe the next day, bring it up and say, mommy was a little worried about you yesterday. You were really, really upset. Do you want to talk about it today? Maybe he just needs time.
Okay. When I asked him about it, he did say there was a paper on the floor that I thought was just garbage. So I just grabbed it and threw it away. And he said he was using it. So he did say
Ah.
like he got mad at that, but I was just surprised at like his response.
Yeah, and this had never happened before.
No, not that. No, like, no. And it was off the wall, kind of. It was extreme.
Like a, yeah,
Like a hit it, like he's never hit me, and that's the only time he's ever done that.
And was it something that was kind of sacred to him? Like, was it something that was super important and it just may have triggered like
I
his
suppose
reaction?
in his mind, yeah, it was probably something important to him, and that's why.
Yes. So you know what I would do, Christina, is I would go back, and have a conversation with him and just, say, is there something, just say something in the sense that, I'm so sorry that I threw that paper out. This way he's in a better emotional, like he's not just, you're trying to apologize during the midst of the
Mhm.
emotion. If I knew it was that important to you, my apologies. Listen, I've done that too. I've thrown out things because I'm just trying to clean up the counter or get all this stuff off. And so just, validate his feelings that, that you made a mistake. And, I apologize. Next time I'll make sure before I throw anything out, I'll double check with you. So it might have been something that was just so important to him and it just triggered him.
Okay.
But
And then just
validating him too is anytime you validate their feelings, it's so important.
okay. And then the point you made about like bringing it up another time, like sometimes I'm hesitant to like
Yeah.
bring
to
it up because
revisit.
I'm almost
Yeah.
afraid that like
It's
he's gonna remember
re-escalate.
it and then like say like, oh, I'll do that again next time. But that shouldn't be a concern, right?
No, I mean, but I think it's sometimes in the moment, it's hard to address like what you're really trying to say. So, just like, like, the next day you're like, mommy just wants to apologize again for throwing that paper out. I didn't realize it was going to really make you upset. And next time when mommy, if something like this happens, I want you to be able to, let's find a calmer way, or let's figure out a way for you to express to me how angry you were. So just kind of maybe shifting how he thinks about you, like he was flailing upset. So maybe thinking about different ways of strategies.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a
the-
question in the chat.
Yes.
Follow-up question on what Christine said. Should we say to the child that it was not okay for the child to hit the parent? Do you see the question, Bethanne?
Wait, no. No, I see. I have a 3-year-old. Oh, wait a minute. I have one direct to me. So let me just address Jessica's question first. So Jessica, I have a 9-year-old who wants siblings. So I wish I had your problem, but no, I'm not saying that. I'm joking. So it is really hard when you're bringing in new members to the family that are taking away the attention that is, they've been so used to. I recommend, and I think this is super important. I know you're now a mom of 4 kids. So maybe taking special time for each of them. So setting up a time maybe when your husband's home, or when somebody else can take the other kids, but taking one child at a time and doing a special event, whether it's going to the park and going on the swing set, just having like that time so that they know they're not feeling as like, oh, the 7-month-old is taking over all of her time. So, and just reinforcing that, she's never going to take away what my love and my, my time with you. Yes, babies are busy, but as she gets older, it's not going to be like this, so attentive all the time, but schedule some little dates or schedule some special time. And now, something that they can look forward to and know that the 7-month-old is not there.
Sorry, Bethanne, the question was just direct to me, so you can.
Oh, that's, yeah, and Jessica's was too. And Jessica, please tell me if that helps.
Yes, it helps. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
So I have a mom that said, following up with the question that Christina was saying, should we say to the child that it was not okay for that child to hit the parent? That was her question. When Christina was explaining that her child got so mad that he hit her.
Yeah.
So the question is like, do we tell them that's not okay?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. In that moment, we say that hands are not for hitting, and that it's not acceptable to hit. You know, if he was hitting her, you know, this is not the behavior that we have. Our expectations are that we don't hit our parents, hit our friends. So we need to find a better way to control that anger. And so how can we do that? Let's find some ways to do it.
Is that answer your question, Charlene?
Yeah, Charlene, let me know.
Where's Charlene? I don't know if I lost her again. 'Cause she was-
My son, who when he was a toddler, he used to bite me. My knees looked crazy.
Mine too.
Yes, yes. So the next question was, can a kid throw things when they are happy and excited? My son gets excited if we show attention to him, and sometimes he starts to throw books or just food to the floor. And when we say no, don't do that, he starts laughing about it with a reaction. So one, I think that any child is excited about the interaction. It might be the food throwing, could be a little attention seeking. So he wants you to come and pay attention to him. So sometimes children may just do those may do certain things because he wants you to pay attention to more, or he maybe wants you to laugh at him. So he's looking for ways to get your attention. And, but throwing food on the floor is probably not the best way to get attention. But sometimes children, yearn that attention, so they do certain things for you to do it, even if you're standing right there. It's, you know, they want the attention that you're giving them, they want something different.
You see the big question, Bethanne, about Stephanie, is that you just clarify? I got lost a little bit here.
I don't have a question from Stephanie.
Okay, so I'm gonna read to you. My child gets upset and yells into he can't yell anymore. At the moment, I don't know what to do. I tell him not to scream and try to talk with me, but does not work. So I try talk to him after he calms down, but I don't think he understands what I'm trying to tell him because he just looks at me, give me a quick smile and goes to play, then repeats the following time again. So what can we do in this situation?
How old is he, Vanessa? Does it say?
No. How old is your child, Stephen? 3.
He's 3.
3 years old.
Yes. Some people say the terrible 2s or the troublesome 3s. And I think 3-year-olds too, it's also about he's testing you to see how far he can go, which is typical behavior of a 3-year-old and 2-year-olds too. So I would say, you know, just you have to set expectations of what you expect from him and his behaviors and what he's supposed to do. And what did she say, Vanessa? I can't read the comment.
So she said that, you know, he yells.
Yeah.
And then she tells him, you know, if you want to try talk to me, I can try talk to you. Stop screaming, we can talk. So after he calms down, she tries to go and talk to him about it, but she doesn't think he understands, you know, after the fact, because he just smile and then go back to play. And then again, the next time he does exactly the same thing. So it's like even though she waiting
like a vicious, yeah, it's like a vicious circle. So 2 recommendations is, as I shared in the PowerPoint, there's some really good books about anger and emotions. So maybe getting a book and reading it with him, and then maybe when you're reading the book to him and say, you know, I sometimes, you know, see that you're getting angry, and then you know, will yell at mommy. Can you tell me why? And say, you know, and just kind of telling him what your expectation. So you want to visually show him what's not right, and then we want to visually show what's not correct behavior, and actually what is the replacement. So what's the best way to show him that this is the correct behavior? And then also 2 expectations, you know, in your house. So he's 3, so you really can start talking about what you should have in your house. So in our house, we keep we keep our room clean. We keep our voices at a normal tone. We don't yell at our siblings or yell at mom and dad, but you're setting his behaviors in the right direction by setting those expectations. So reminding him that when he yells at you, say, we've talked about this before, this is not the best way to do the behavior. And maybe it's time for a consequence, that when he does that screaming in your face, that this may, this is what the consequence is. So you either take something away, or he needs, maybe needs to go sit down for a few minutes and kind of reflect on what just happened. So I would definitely, if it's a repeated thing, I would definitely put some consequences in. Sorry, my
that answer
allergy
your
medicine's all
question?
over the place today. Oh, you're so welcome. This is good.
He said,
Our
thank you so much.
2.5-year-old sometimes gets upset when daddy is carrying out a task, preparing dinner with him, and then he demands he wants mom. In those moments, no. I know the feeling so well. He needs to know that that this is like, if daddy is doing these tasks, that's daddy's, this is our time. I have had the bad thing of me doing is trying to intervene, like, oh no, his underwear is over there, and then I have to remember I have to pull back, because he has to look at dad as being that person. Because what's our biggest joke, that the three of you, mom, dad, and son are sitting there, and dad is right next to him, but yet he'll scream across the room for mom to get him something. So you want to be able to establish that this is the daddy's routine, and this is what daddy's doing. And just don't make yourself visible. Don't go in and check. If they can't find something, let them figure it out on your own. Go for a walk outside. I've sat in the bathroom just scrolling through my phone for 20 minutes to hide, but let him see that daddy is the person to do that. He's doing these tasks. Hide. I know that sounds horrible, but again, you're welcome. You want to be able to split the partnership too, and that he knows that daddy, this is part of my time with dad, and dad's going to do this. Nothing can replace mom.
I think it's very important it's very hard for us moms to do this, because they're mostly the time that if we are home and spend most of the time with the child. But I think it's a good thing to hide or walk away. I couldn't hide and not control myself, not to just get out and do it and get it done with it. But so walking away, I think, is the best thing, because then it also show the child that dad is also can do this, and show dad what we go through it. Because a lot of times the dads, because we spend more time with the children, they don't understand like what our day look like, what happened through our day. So sometimes I had to do like hard love, like, okay, you gotta deal with this, and I'm gonna go out and let them figure out, because that's also a learning process from the child and the dad, how they're going to solve this problem, because they get so used to us moms. And then that's why, like, I'm a mom, because daddy sometimes get lost in like, what did I do now? So I think it's a good learning process for both and for the whole family, because that way it's not all on mom. If that makes sense.
It's hard. There's a balance, but
it is hard.
Like I said, I used to hide in the bathroom. But also too, like, we're all like, as parents too, like, we want to go in and say like, no, that's not the right underwear, or no, this is like, that's not how you do that. Nope, just let them do it.
Yep. Walk away, I think, is the best way. The ones like me that can't control it ended up getting into the middle. And like she said, should mama go and try save, rescue, and do it? No. Even though it's very, very hard. I did it many times. I'm guilty. I did, but I learned through the years, like, no, that's not the best way. It's a learning process for everybody, and they need to learn how to solve themselves.
Like, literally, it drives me crazy. Like, I'm not even in the same room with them, and my husband is standing right there, and I'm like, no, see, this is your dad, meet him.
Yeah. I used to say like, mom's not available, but you're right there. No, I'm not available.
Yeah.
ask dad, but
Yeah.
dad this, but that. Well,
Nope.
figure it out. You have to figure it out, but
Yeah.
it's interesting.
And you know what? Every behavior is challenging, especially when we talk about children under the age of 5. It's a navigation that we all need. Some days we get so overwhelmed because we don't know how to fix things, and our child is crying, and the child's not able to really tell us why they're crying. And so beginning with labeling emotions and teaching them the importance of that. Like I see they're trying to open something and they can't open. I see that you're frustrated. How can I help you? Or how can I help you open that? I always say that, I know you're angry, but we always can find a way to solve a problem.
So we have one more question. My 3-year-old takes a nap during the day. When he wakes up, most of the time he cries into tears. How to help and show a way to calm down?
So two things. Could the nap be too long? So he's waking up a little bit overtired. Sometimes that can happen. Maybe when they're waking up from nap, what's his favorite thing to do? One of his favorite things to do, maybe when he wakes up, be like, oh, I've got my shoes on. Let's get your shoes on. We're ready to go outside. Do something that is one of their favorite things to do. So transitioning from that nap, or I made your favorite snack. Let's go do that. I would say for a 3-year-old, 1 hour.
Yeah,
Definitely an hour. You're welcome. Yeah. This is the age where you're transitioning out of those naps. And also too, it does help. I think bedtime routines too, is that when you keep, you do that one, maybe an hour and a half for a 3-year-old, definitely for a 4-year-old, 1 hour, because also you're transitioning them out of nap time, because, eventually they're going to be in the less than a year going to school. So, I would say start transitioning at 3 from that, to an hour nap. And then putting them to bed, maybe if they seem like they're more tired, do an earlier bedtime.
it's funny that that you mentioned that sleeping long can cause this. I have the opposite. Like if I woke up them, because I can't nap too long. If I use the timing thing, that's what causes the stress. Because I think if they're sleeping, they need their sleep. Of course, not gonna let them sleep for 4 hours, because then you're not gonna put them in bed in a normal bed routine.
Yeah,
but
and every child
different.
is so different in naps, but sometimes if they do sleep too long, they're more overtired. But again, like plan something fun, find their favorite thing to do. And even too, when you're going to put them down for the nap, like even if you're going to go to the playground, be like, oh, remember when you get up from the nap, we're going to go to the playground, or we're going to play a game. So make it something that they look forward to when they're excited.
She said, thank you. The advice was
Oh, you're so welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I put the links. I'm going to actually put the link for Tucker the Turtle in here as well. But these are all great resources for families. This is ultimately my favorite website that I use all the time for resources. They also, for Tucker the Turtle, there's one that's for home and one that's for school. So I'm going to put the link in the chat box for the at home one. And yeah, you can print it out and use it. Again, go to the library, pick some books. Also on the Pyramid website, they have a list of books by topic. So they have books about sadness, books like, say, one of the parents were talking about having another child into the home. So there's books about having a new sibling. It's reading and literacy is the best way to connect children with what you want to communicate to them. I'm a huge fan of it. And also, I recommend I'll stop talking. My last recommendation is read that book, not just one day, do it for like 5 days in a row, and then pick another book the next week, because then they're really going to pick up the concept. Okay, I'm done. Any other questions? I just get so excited.
We love how you're excited, Beth.
Thank you.
Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, and so guys, come back next month, guys.
Yeah,
No,
next
come
month,
back next month.
it's gonna be on June 14th.
Yep.
Do you know the topic yet, Bethanne? Or
I
no?
don't. I
Okay.
don't. Oh,
But
Lisa,
don't worry,
Lisa. Oh, I see Lisa Swain is on, and she's my partner in all things pyramid. Lisa, do you remember what June is? Oh, she must. Oh, you're so welcome. Anyway, but it
I
will be
was just
posted.
gonna look it up. I was putting in the chat that this was excellent, and
Oh,
I'll look it up while you're talking. Hold
Okay.
on one.
okay. So
someone
again,
asked, sorry, Bethanne, someone asked if you can send the link for the Talker Turtle at school.
yes, I'll do it right now. And also, Jessica wants to know how to register.
How to I think if you register once, you will be registered, I believe.
Yes, I
Joyce,
believe so too.
Joyce
We
is
should get
here.
that.
Joyce, is that correct? Can you confirm that for me?
If you registered for this one, you're registered for the next one?
Yes,
Yes, but you need to preset a reminder.
yes. I will send a reminder, but I write your name, Jessica, that you wanna, but I think when you register for one, you register for all, but we will send the reminders for everybody that already registered, right? The week before, a couple of days prior. But just mark on your calendar, it will be in June 14th, the same time.
And just to add, like,
You're
if there's topics that you're really struggling with and you want more information, just please reach out to us and we're happy
Yeah.
to get you resources. Also, we can think about even adding topics into our monthly series.
I also put my email on the chat if
Oh, I'm
anybody
putting mine too.
wants to share or ask for a specific topic. We can definitely do our little magic here and try to make it happen.
And next month is the solution kit and
Oh,
problem solving.
That's a
That's
good
Anne's
one.
favorite.
Yes, I talk about it all the time. Yes, everyone definitely join us. There's a great problem solving kit that I'm going to talk about and share. It's fantastic. So I hope you guys will all come back next month.
It's hard to pick which one is the better because they're all good.
But problem solving, I think, is my favorite. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. This
I'm
was
so happy you
excellent.
joined us.
Me too.
Again, so the PowerPoint, we can share it with you as well. It has a lot of those great strategies in there, and also those great book ideas too.
Yes. Does anybody have any other last question for Beth or want to share anything?
We
If I
actually
find a magic wand, I will send it to everybody.
we have July and August topics too. July is emotions, how to help your child recognize and understand fear. And August is how to teach your child to appropriately get your attention.
Oh,
Yay.
wait, where's the mom that was? Oh, yes. I hope she's still on so she could.
This was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lisa, can you email? I don't know if you have my email. Can you email to me those
Yes.
topics? Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And a little description so our team here can work on it.
Yes, Bethanne and Jane have them.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. Well, I
Bethanne.
hope everyone has a wonderful day. Please go enjoy this great weather. Again, my email is in there. If anyone ever needs resources, I'm happy to help. And I hope you guys all have a great day.
And happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yes. Happy
Wonderful
Mother's Day.
mom.
Don't go hide in the bathroom. Go some outside your house.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop recording.